Hey, what's going on, everyone? Gray Talon here, setting his sights on yet another unsuspecting prey, and today we are going to be talking and discussing the top 13 video games of this console generation. And why 13, some of you might be asking? Well, because the Gray Talon strikes with all of his 13 claws. Yes, he is that meta. So I know for my list here, it's the first, top list here, it's a little bit of a broad choice, seeing as though we're a little over 6 years strong into the console's generation's life cycle, this console generation. I'm doing my best here to be as unbiased as I can be, broadening my gaming palette, and bringing you the top 13 titles that I have played in its entirety over the past 6 years, and felt that stood out to me in terms of presentation, performance, and overall replay value. Now, in terms of replay value, I don't necessarily mean physical replay value, while that does play a key factor in what makes my list. Also, I want to ask the question, does the game stick around with you mentally and emotionally after and play a replay into your mind and, in your psyche? So, I do hold a soft spot. Please also know I do hold a soft spot for games that focus on a narrative and a story. I'm going to try and remain as unbiased as possible, but I do have a soft spot for games that have a focus on more of a narrative and a plot. This list will also try and stray away from remasters, such as The Last of Us, for example, for PS4. When it got ported from the PS3 to the PS4, it was just a graphical upgrade with a few technical frame rate bumps in the performance. I will also be refraining from listing any indie games in this list, because I feel like the indie games over this past generation has developed into such a prominent force over the past few years that they deserve the respect and of having their own special list, which I do plan on making in the future. So be on the lookout for that. And lastly, expect a lot of honorable mentions at the end of this video, because guys and gals, please, there's I only had 13 games to put on this list. I had to compile it, and it was the most hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, making 13 games of the top video games that I've played in a million years playing video games, and this console generation has so many more than 13 video games that really stands out. So expect a ton of honorable mentions at the end of this video. And some of you might have guessed, there are some mild spoilers ahead. So without further ado, let's get started.
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
What do you get when you combine a pseudo-post-apocalyptic android world with, well, this guy?
ちょっと一言コメントお願いします。
はい。ニーヤオートマタは僕が書いたシナリオが全然評価されないのに、岡部さんの音楽ばっかりいっぱい褒められてすごく悔しいです。なので、もう二度と岡部さんにはアワードの。
Well, you get a beautiful recipe of some of the most brilliant forms of mind rape since the likings of Hideo Kojima when he first tried to scramble our brains when Psycho Manus read our video game save files in Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation.
Now I'll read more deeply into your soul. I can see into your mind. So, you like Suikoden? So, you like Azure Dreams? You like Castlevania, don't you? You enjoy role-playing games. I see that you enjoy Konami games. You have not said often. You are somewhat reckless.
In this hack and slash light RPG elements, dive headfirst into a deep and dark narrative focused on the concept of humanoid replicant androids and sentient robots developing emotions, feelings, and even having their own personal ideologies while trying to combat armies of machine robots from a distant world. It's one part Blade Runner, one part Matrix, and all parts awesome. Plus, it's made by Platinum Games, the developers of Bayonetta and the original Devil May Cry. So if that's not enough incentive to immediately run out and play this game, I'm not sure what will convince you. It's fast-paced, high-octane action that will leave you on the edge of your seat and yearning for more. And it has a multitude of different endings. You cannot simply beat this game just once. You have to beat it at least 6 to 7 times to get the true ending. Nier Automata is one of the most fun games and experiences you will have in 2017, and it should not be missed by any means necessary.
Everything that lives is designed to...
Am I dead?
You are banished from death. A curse binds us together.
Who are you?
I shaped the history of Middle-earth. I crafted the rings of power.
Celebrimbor, greatest smith of the Second Age. Sauron deceived you into making the rings.
Well, this game surely came out of left field, but it was sure a sight for sore eyes at the time. Developed by Monolith Studios, who were responsible for the successful Fear games and piggyback offing the success of the Batman Arkham series, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor provided some of the most fluid combat and free-flowing action since the Batman Arkham titles, only much, much more brutal. We're talking more decapitations and beheadings than in the entire series of Game of Thrones. The story is the other half of the reason why this game made my list. It tells the tale of the creation of the Ring of Power that led to the evil Lord Sauron's rise as you fight within the realm of Mordor before the events that transpire in the Lord of the Rings or even the Hobbit trilogy. As you take on the role of Talion, a brave and noble ranger who once met his demise and is now joined with the Wraith in unison on a quest for vengeance against those who were responsible for his family's death. A simple quest for revenge that will snowball into quite a journey as you build up your armies by capturing orcs and lead the fight back against the evil forces of Sauron. If you're a fan of the action games with a sprinkle of Assassin's Creed-like platforming, then this will be a match made in heaven, or in this case, the hellish land of Mordor, for you.
This pain is ours.
If we fail, we lose our chance of revenge. When the time comes, I'll pull the trigger.
In this final true entry in the Metal Gear Solid series from renowned mind and famed game writer and director Hideo Kojima, you take on the role of Big Boss from the 1980s. After waking from a 9-year coma following the events of Ground Zeroes, you free roam the vast Afghanistan plains during the Soviet-Afghan War to track down those responsible for the destruction of an old military group, Military Sans Frontières. Along with returning compadre and arms and once rival Ocelot, prepare yourself as you take on a slew of new missions to uncover the truth about the plot, leading to the creation of course, a new Metal Gear that could potentially destroy the world. The game is truly fun and addictive, with that being said. Give you access to an array of dozens of missions in an open world environment with hundreds of addictive side ops alike, ranging from action to stealth by infiltrating bases, rescuing civilians and soldiers, gathering intel, and taking down enemy artillery. You get a slew of support characters too, such as a faithful companion dog, or Quiet the Sniper, who will later become a game-breaking tool for you to use along your journey. And if you stick with it until the very end, you will not be disappointed or sorry as the saga of Snake comes to a head and somewhat an emotional conclusion, knowing the history behind the scenes of it all, and the legacy, and even controversial drama leading up to the inevitable parting of ways with Konami and Hideo Kojima. This last entry in the Metal Gear Solid series by the famed developer and creative director Hideo Kojima should not be missed by any means necessary.
What goes around comes around.
I know this game just came out a month ago, people, but I had to just sneak it in my list here. I know I'm sneaky. But it was just a great prestigious remake, and I know I said I wouldn't include remasters on this list, but it's not your average remaster, guys. It is a complete rebuild and reimagining of a 21-year-old game from the ground up, completely reinvigorating the horrors and terrors we once felt in the past, fusing together the elements of what made the original Resident Evil trilogy so truly frightening with the beloved camera and controls of Resident Evil 4. Fear lurks around every turn in tandem with some intense action sequences. There are numerous campaigns to play through as well, 4 in total if you count Leon and Claire's both A and B sides. Alright, but enough of this. I'm going to link my video review in the description so you can check that out for yourselves for more information with greater detail. It is truly a match made in heaven, or at the very least, a match made in the depth of the darkest labs of the Umbrella Corporation.
To shut you down!
Over time, one by one, the tribes came to these lands. Some small and humble, some powerful as kings. They say my tribe was the first to hunt, the first to raise our bows. For this world was never ours. We've always shared it.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the creators of Killzone. Yes, that's right, you heard me, my young Padawans. You heard me correctly. I said from Guerrilla Games, the creators of the Killzone series, comes a beautiful, robust, lush, rendered, post-apocalyptic world with a vivacious and ambitious tale revolving around a sentient feral-like machines with resemblance to prehistoric creatures that lived millions of years ago. You take on the role of Aloy, a fierce female warrior from the 31st century. That's right, you heard me correctly. The 31st century tribe called the Nora. After proving herself when she becomes of age, she obtains an augmented reality device called a Focus. And after being attacked for looking like a scientist from the old world, she then embarks on a journey that leads to her uncovering quite an incredible story behind the creation of the cybernetic creatures that roam the new 31st century landscape. The gameplay focuses on a myriad of weapon crafting for your arsenal of spears, bows, and quivers, ranging from high-end explosives to mines and traps. Crafting plays a big role in the game too, as you must gather resources in the environment to build up your ever-growing arsenal. Also, you can free flow using platforming techniques and zip-lining all over the huge map, climbing up tall giraffe-like machines and new viewpoints for you to look at. The game feels robust, like a robust and futuristic Tomb Raider, and should not be missed by anyone that is a fan of an empowering action-adventure game mixed with an interesting narrative along the way. 2017 was a wonderful year for video games, and Horizon Zero Dawn joins the roster for some of the best times you would have experienced in that year.
This machine, it looks ancient. Where did it come from?
Yes, indeed. As they say on pilgrimage, the fire fades, and the lords have no thrones.
Return to Lothric one last time to kindle the bonfires as you set out on a harrowing journey to take on the kiln of the First Flame. You are the Ashen One and must return the Lords Ascended to their rightful thrones while embarking on a wonderfully interconnected medieval world, littered with brazen creatures, shortcuts galore, and secrets and treasures alike. Well, in case you guys haven't guessed, I'm a pretty huge Souls series fan, and the third and final entry in the series is no slouch. With dozens of David and Goliath-like boss fights and creatures and some challenging sub-boss battles, you can go it alone or bring 2 other lost souls into battle with you to team up in co-op as you fight for survival. Experience an array of different class building as you become either a heavy brute to pound your foes into the ground, or with that sweet ultra great sword, or take on the role as cleric and zap opponents from afar with spells and hexes. The combination of class builds are nearly endless, and the replay value is incredibly high as you level up to be able to withstand the might of the overbearing and powerful world of Lothric. The mechanics are as fluid as the game's speed is almost resembles that of From Software's previous title, Bloodborne, at times. Plus, with Hidetaka Miyazaki-san returning to direct this time around, it truly feels like the definitive Dark Souls experience. Any fan of this hardcore action series, or even hardcore RPGs in general, will be right at home here. We return to the ever-enchanting land of Hyrule as the heroic Link to embark on yet another tale to once again purge the evil that Ganon has loomed over the land. In this first truly open world Legend of Zelda game, you can really feel the utmost sense of wanderlust as you feel the need to explore every nook and cranny of the landscape, which seemingly has no limitations whatsoever. This is the biggest draw of this particular Zelda title for me. The liberating sensation to do almost anything you can imagine. Whether it be cooking up and collecting ingredients to sizzle over a frying pan, to then make your next concoction to withstand the extreme cold of the uncharted, say, Hebra valleys, or the intense heat of the Goron volcanic mountainous regions. Or perhaps it might be climbing up the side of a 1,000-foot wall or tower to try and reach the top without running out of that precious stamina. The world is truly your oyster here, and you can even take on Ganon right out of the gate. But I highly recommend you don't do that unless you're trying to be some kind of Hylian sorcerer and have mystical powers to withstand instantaneous death. And lastly here, the shrines in the game were so utterly addictive for me, and they provide upgrades either to your stamina or hearts by solving puzzles, as you can see here. And they are possibly the most addictive part of this game. You will literally have to pry yourself away from the game as you try and scour the land high and low, seeking out those hidden little caves of wonders. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was a massive achievement on all fronts and should definitely not be missed if you are a Legend of Zelda fan or if you're just a fan of adventure games.
My daughter.
Coming out in the same damn year as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Switch is Mario Odyssey. When I first saw the gameplay trailer for this latest Mario 3D title, I knew instantaneously that it would be fun, but I did not realize it would be possibly the best 3D Mario game I would have ever experienced. My all-time favorite Mario game was Super Mario Sunshine for the Nintendo GameCube, by unpopular opinion. I was just so glamored by the freedom of roaming from world to world in tandem of being the sole member of a freaking cleanup crew that was tasked with ridding the Isle Delfino with that grimy inky substance. Plus the normal Mario platforming levels were fun to boot. But now, in Super Mario Odyssey, everything is dialed up to 11 in the Mushroom Kingdom realm. I mean, you can become a freaking T-Rex for Christ's sake, with an Italian mustache, or by the simple toss of a hat. Or don the fierce and angry explosive power of a mustached Bullet Bill. Or launch yourself as a Chomp Champ to break down barriers or obstacles in your path. Plus, the 2D sections are a serious retro nod to Mario games of old, and transition seamlessly from 3D to 2D, as you might expect. Lastly, the freaking addiction for shines, well, moonshines this time around, becomes real, as you pretty much sell your plumbing soul for a shot at getting all of them per world. Super Mario Odyssey should not be missed. It is a quintessential title for the Nintendo Switch, and must be played by everyone a fan of this beloved character.
Even if it doesn't, well, don't take any chances.
Man, From Software really knocked this one-hit wonder out of the park. From the makers of the Dark Souls and Demon Souls series comes a dark gothic title with a deep and mythic lore. As a hunter of beasts, you try to purge and plague the land around you as you fight back against creatures of folklore such as lycans, trolls, and Cthulhu-type monsters, nightmarish creatures. A game that forces you to face your fears and strike back in the face of towering difficulty and strife in a fast-paced, hardcore action RPG that will cause your blood to boil at times with intense combat sequences, leaving your heart pounding and yearning for more, and if you strike back just quickly enough, you may just regain health after being hit with the regain feature as well. This was my first From Software title that I not only played through once, but twice on its New Game Plus mode as I was consumed within the hunter's dream in the faraway land of Yharnam, so it will forever hold a special place in my heart.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them. Sooner or later.
Product not yet rated. Six months into the invasion, Nilfgaard's legions had pierced the heart of the northern realms. Behind them, blood-soaked fields, war-swept wastes. A lone wolf roamed these broken lands, a beast slayer, a whirlwind of rage and steel. They say he was a man obsessed, chasing memories, faces, scents. Yet amidst the chaos, he could only follow his heart.
2015 showcased an amazing amount of titles, two of which have made my list here, Bloodborne and now The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. And if it wasn't for Geralt of Rivia here, and coming out in 2015, Bloodborne probably would have made my Game of the Year list. But with that being said, once the Wild Hunt has dropped into the Gray Talon's claws, they were clenched for what felt like an eternity. If anyone asked me what my all-time favorite action RPG is in this generation, that is the entire complete package, the gaming Oscar would go to The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, every time. The level of detail present in this game cannot simply be put into words. While the graphics themselves may not be up to par with other games of this generation, the attention to detail in this beautifully crafted continent Geralt is on is astounding to say the least. For example, you may just be walking around minding your own business when you'll suddenly happen to notice out of the corner of your eye in the outskirts of the town a water wheel connected to a turnstile system with free-flowing water. And if you follow it closely, you'll see how it connects to their irrigation system, how each specific town works. It's just the little nuances like that that makes this game so damn intricate to play. Not to mention the plethora of quests you can do ranging from aiding warring empires, which makes you feel like you're playing the unofficial Game of Thrones game, to slaying beasts of burden, while you're concocting tonics and potions alike, like the true Witcher you are. Plus, the downloadable content is probably better than the main storyline too, which is possibly the first time that's ever happened in any video game series that I've ever played and must be experienced, that gives Geralt of Rivia the true ending he rightfully deserves.
Some fight for glory, justice, or gold. I fight for those I hold dear. I'm Geralt of Rivia, the Witcher.
So, what do you think?
It's a lot to take in, kid. Where do I even start? You've been out of the game for a long time. Or maybe I need to remind you the kind of people we'd be crossing here.
Sully, I know the risks. But come on, it's a surefire plan.
Yeah. If there's one thing I've learned in all these years, it's there's no such thing as a surefire plan.
I don't really have an option here. You know that.
Okay, people, now that we've gotten into the final big three here, I want to just kindly remind everyone that the next three games have been personally chosen because they are heavily focused on delivering a strong narrative, which is one of my true Achilles' heel. The final chapter in the Naked Drake saga, which was went out with such a beautiful bang, I damn near had to play through the game twice just to soak up all of its glorious, memorable moments. Everyone from the previous 3 games returns as well in an inglorious fashion to boot, alongside of new characters as well. From the fast-paced motorcycle chases in the Middle East to traversing the Sahara by jeep to hiking up beautiful mountain trails, this final chapter does not pull its punches for anything. There's even one part of the game where you feel like you're freaking James Bond, pulling off an exotic heist in an exotic locale that ends in an Indiana Jones style infused madness of swinging from whips and ropes and vines through a series of windows and objects as you make your daring escape. The Uncharted series to me has always felt like a modern day Indiana Jones anyway, which does not disappoint when it is doing what it does best. Exploring mystical lands in hopes of finding famous treasures left behind by legends of the past that usually ends with high-octane explosions, car chases, and perilous escapes from life-threatening scenarios in an utmost cinematic fashion. Also, the story has charm and heart, leaving you more than satisfied more and more with each entry in the series, leading to its final conclusion, in which you cannot help but have a smile on your face at the end of the game. The game ends even in such a way that the esteemed developer Naughty Dog can even pick it up at any time it wants to in the future. That's how they closed it out. It's such brilliant writing like this that should be commended, recognized, and put high up on a pedestal to be praised, such as now that I have done on this list. Uncharted 4: Thieves' End should not be missed on any scale by any fan of the series or any fans of action games in general. It's truly a pick up and play action platforming shooting game with charm, heart, and such a hefty presence that you will not be sorry by playing this title.
This life, it's not what it looks like.
Took a long time for him to get out of this game.
He's meant for this life. There's got to be another way. I need you on this one.
Goddamn mind?
Yep, probably. Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, crap.
Got some money for me, boy? I seen your name in our ledger.
You're a wanted man, Mr. Morgan.
If I was making a top 10 video game list of last generation, Red Dead Redemption 1 would have been at the top of my list, hands down. In no way, shape, or form would I have ever imagined its numbered sequel would have also make another top-tiered game for me in the present day and age. The critically acclaimed developer Rockstar Games once again tantalizes and does not disappoint with their newest title. Set approximately 15 years before the events of Red Dead Redemption, the sequel, or prequel, sets you into the high-top post-19th century boots of Arthur Morgan, right-hand man to Dutch Vanderlyn, as they all try to learn and adapt to their new 20th century American lifestyle and leave their criminal life behind. Or do they? The snowball effect is immensely present as you struggle to survive the onslaught from one bad move to another. Without spoiling too much, I will just say that just to try and ready those Kleenex at hand, because for those of you who have played the first game know, expect one teary-eyed ending once again, in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Another reason why this game holds my second place slot in this list securely is because of yet again its exasperating attention to detail. If The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt was so refined in showcasing the freaking intricate workings of a wooden water wheel, then get ready to completely crap your pantsuit as Red Dead Redemption dials the attention to detail up to 11, which is possibly even 12, as they turn the attention to detail into an obsession to detail. With such things as, you know, shrinking horse testicles or growing horse testicles, depending on the climate you are presently in on the map. You can also become really dirty and grotesque and need baths after traveling for many in-game hours, along with growing facial hair and in real time. And you can grow it to look like a rock star, that you look like Odin from Asgard if enough time in the game passes. Plus, there are some random encounters that transpire at any time dynamically as you're traveling about from town to town that are just as emotional as some of the story segments in the game and can prompt up at any unprompted time. And in terms of the core gameplay, you are a gunslinger in a third person, but also there are some first person aspects as well, as shown in the videos I'm showing on screen now. And you use a slow motion dead-eye mechanic to carefully pick apart your foes. You take to rides into horseback, or even takes on some carriages to soak up the remains of the Old West. Overall, this is a game not to be missed by any means necessary, and some parts of its illustrious and gritty tale will stick with me in my mind until the very last day I draw breath from this earth.
Do you have my bag?
Always, Dutch. Maybe when your mother's finished mourning your father, I'll keep her in black on your behalf.
Find your way home. You are free.
We're taking our ashes to the highest peak in the realms.
Ashes?
It was our last wish.
Where must we go?
To a realm beyond your own.
The creme de la creme, my brethren, from Sony Santa Monica Studios and the ingenious mind of the game's writer and director Cory Balrog comes the likes of something we have not bore witness to. God of War has been completely reimagined. A video game franchise that was 13 years old and had completely and utterly transformed and reconstructed from the ground up to feel so fresh and yet retaining a sense of familiarity with the beloved anti-hero Kratos and the rich lore found in his previous titles. What shocks and awes me about this game first is while the setting and lore completely shifted to that of Viking mythology, it somehow manages to keep the focus on the weight and burden of Kratos and his actions that he has carried over after leaving the ravaged lands of ancient Greece behind. Kratos not only carries with him a now repressed curse of his choices, but is left with a son as well, the boy! Shortly after losing his wife and mother of his child, Kratos sets off on a simple journey with his son to scatter his mother's ashes atop a mountain summit. However, little did they know that the perilous adventure that awaited them ahead. The new God of War delivers such an emotional performance from Kratos with several callbacks to previous games in ways that slowly build up and shape his character arc even more than imaginable. He goes from suppressing all the too well-known Spartan rage to slowly unleashing it by the journey's end in ways quite unfathomable. The core gameplay has been completely redesigned as well. The new camera provides a more focused, over-the-shoulder angle with each swing, and so that so faithful Leviathan axe has an extreme presence also as you bear dominance over your foes. Plus that callback feature with the axe where you press the action button and the axe comes flying back into your hands like you're frippin' Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader never gets tiring. There's also a light focus on upgrading your armor and gear this time around too, where the focus is not just on weapon magic upgrading but also finding rare armor pieces to upgrade your armor, so you can scale to your level and go toe-to-toe with some of Norse mythology's most relentless and foul beasts. This title also won many Game of the Year awards for 2018, and rightfully so. It has achieved so much and deserves such acknowledgement for breathing a new form of life into this once aging franchise. This is my #1 video game of this console generation thus far, and while this console generation has not yet been laid to rest, I will find it increasingly difficult for the ghost of Sparta to be toppled anytime soon.
Can you kill something that big?
So there you have it, folks. The Gray Talon's top 13 video games of this console generation. So I just want to thank you tremendously for watching and supporting this channel and my new venture here. And please share and like this video, or better yet, subscribe for more great content coming. This is only the beginning. I cannot stress that enough. And also follow me on Twitter. I'm going to link my Twitter just in the description as well for all the latest gaming and movie updates and news and other things. There's so much is coming. It's going to be amazing. So I just want to thank you again. And now I will leave you with a montage video of the honorable mentions that did not make this list, but they sure as hell need to be recognized. Enjoy, and have a great day.
Town's gonna, you know, get back.